You need $630,000 in super to retire comfortably in Australia. That's the official number. ASFA, the people who literally set the benchmark, updated it in February 2026. 630 grand for a single person, 730 for a couple. The median super balance for Aussies aged 60 to 64, roughly $200,000. That's less than a third of what you need, and for women it's worse, around 160,000. That's a gap of over $400,000. And nobody is talking about Plan B. But what if the problem isn't your super balance? What if it's the country you're planning to retire in? Because that 200 grand, the amount most Aussies actually have, is a poverty retirement in Melbourne. But in 5 other countries, it buys you a genuinely comfortable life. Sometimes a better one than you'd get in Australia. I checked 5 countries that Aussies actually retire to. Real monthly costs, real visa requirements, real healthcare, not the TikTok fantasy. And at the end, the 3 catches that every retire cheap overseas video conveniently leaves out. Let's go. But first, the baseline. What does retiring in Australia actually cost? According to ASFA, a comfortable retirement for a single person runs roughly $4,500 a month. For a couple, about $6,400. That includes housing costs, if you own your home, groceries, health insurance, a car, occasional travel, and basic leisure. At that rate, a $200,000 super balance lasts roughly 3.5 years. 3.5 years. That's not a retirement. That's a long holiday. Right. 5 countries. Cheapest to most expensive. For each one, I'll give you the monthly cost, the visa situation, and the one thing nobody tells you. Country 1. Vietnam. The cheapest credible option. Monthly cost for a comfortable single retirement in a city like Da Nang or Hanoi. Roughly $1,200 to $1,600 Australian. Rent for a decent 1-bedroom runs about $400 to $600. A full local meal costs under $3. At $15,000 a year, your 200 grand in super lasts roughly 13 years, versus 3.5 in Australia. The catch: Vietnam has no dedicated retirement visa. Most retirees cycle 90-day tourist visas, which is messy and uncertain. Healthcare outside major cities is limited, and the language barrier is real. Beautiful country, genuinely cheap, but you're building on shaky visa ground. Country 2, Philippines. The English-speaking option. Monthly cost, roughly $1,400 to $1,800. Rent in Cebu, or Dumaguete, runs $350 to $550. English is an official language. Flight time from Melbourne is about 8 hours. The visa is the standout here. The Philippines has a dedicated retirement visa called the SRRV, Special Resident Retirees Visa. It's specifically designed for foreign retirees, requires a deposit starting from about $2,000 depending on your age, and it's renewable. Proper legal residency, not tourist visa cycling. The catch: typhoon season is real and affects large parts of the country. Infrastructure varies enormously by region, and political stability is, let's say, less predictable than you're used to. Country 3, Thailand, the one everyone's already considered. Monthly cost, roughly $1,800 to $2,500 depending on location. Chiang Mai is the value sweet spot. Rent around $500 to $800, world-class street food, and 2 international standard private hospitals in town. Bangkok and Phuket cost more. The visa requires you to either park 800,000 baht in a Thai bank account, that's roughly 35,000 Australian dollars locked up, or prove a monthly income of about 65,000 baht. That's real capital sitting in a foreign bank. The great thing: Thailand's private hospital system is genuinely world-class. Bumrungrad Hospital in Bangkok is ranked among the best hospitals on the planet. The catch nobody mentions: health insurance premiums skyrocket after age 65. At 55, you're paying $150 to $250 a month. At 75, that can jump to $800 to $1,200 a month, or you get declined entirely. The cheap Thailand retirement numbers you see online are almost always based on a 55-year-old's premiums. Country 4, Malaysia. Arguably the most practical option for Aussies. Monthly cost, roughly $2,000 to $2,800. Rent for a condo in Penang or KL runs $600 to $1,000. English is widely spoken. Flight time from Melbourne is 8 hours. Modern infrastructure. Established Aussie expat community. And Penang is often called one of the best food cities in the world. The visa. The MM2H program, Malaysia, my second home. It used to be incredible. Then in 2021, they significantly tightened the rules. Higher financial thresholds, proof of offshore income around $10,000 a month, larger fixed deposits. Still viable, but nowhere near as accessible as it was a decade ago. The catch. The program keeps changing rules. What's true today might not be true in 2 years. You're building a retirement on visa, terms that a government can rewrite at any time. Country 5, Portugal, the European option. Monthly cost, roughly $2,800 to $3,500. It's the most expensive on this list, but still cheaper than Australia. And it comes with something none of the others offer. EU residency. The D7 passive income visa requires proof of passive income, pension, super drawdown, rental income, of roughly €850 a month minimum. It leads to permanent residency and eventually EU citizenship. Retire in Portugal, weekend in Spain, holiday in Italy. The catch, Lisbon and the Algarve have gentrified hard, and it's a 20+ hour flight from Australia. Visiting family means 2 days of travel each way. Right, 5 countries. All cheaper than Australia. Some dramatically so. On paper, every single one of them stretches your super further. But I promised you the catches, the real ones. Because this is where every other retire overseas video stops. Catch 1, flights home. 2 return flights a year from Southeast Asia to Australia. Roughly $2,000 to $4,000. From Portugal, $4,000 to $8,000. And that's up to $670 a month that nobody includes in their monthly cost. And you will fly home. Birthdays, emergencies, Christmas, grandkids. This isn't optional spending. It's emotional infrastructure. Catch 2. You lose Medicare. The moment you stop being an Australian tax resident, you lose Medicare eligibility. If something serious happens, cancer, a stroke, major surgery, you're relying entirely on private insurance and local healthcare. For Thailand and Malaysia, the private hospitals are genuinely excellent. For Vietnam and the Philippines, outside major cities, it's a different conversation. Catch 3. The emotional cost. This is the one that never shows up in a spreadsheet. Being 8,000 kilometers from your family when your grandkids are growing up. Missing funerals because a flight takes 2 days. Time zone differences that make a casual phone call complicated. The financial math can be perfect, and the emotional math can still break the whole thing. It's the number one reason expat retirees come home within 5 years. So, the verdict. This isn't a "you should definitely move overseas" video. It's a "you should know Plan B exists" video. If your super won't stretch to a comfortable retirement in Australia, and statistically for most of us it won't, then knowing that 200 grand buys you 13 years of genuinely good living in Vietnam versus 3.5 years in Melbourne, that's information worth having. What you do with it is yours, because that gap between 630 grand and 200 grand doesn't have to mean a broke retirement. It might just mean a different postcode. If this made you think about retirement differently, or if you're now quietly Googling flights to Da Nang, hit like so more Aussies see it. Comment the country that surprised you most, and subscribe if you want more of this. No hidden fees, no small print. See you in the next one.